Good morning, guys. How are you? Welcome to Unfiltered Vision News, bringing you the news unfiltered Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 a.m. Eastern. My name is Dr. Ashaki Noni Nichols, and I will be your host. I need to get used to reposting the stream in my profile. So I'm literally typing right now. I got to get used to it. I'm like, really? Got to do this myself. Okay. Let me see, 7 to 9. Eastern. Because what has happened, I'm not sure if there is a glitch with what is called the API key for X, but for some reason, your feed will not show up in the profile as you physically post it. Like before, you have to physically repost it because if you don't, anybody that maybe follows you or sees you, they're not going to see it. So again, I got to get used to it. There's like this whole 2 minute situation that I have to get used to. I'm not used to it yet. So forgive me as I go through this little administrative process. I'm going to have to write it down for myself tomorrow. But anyway, happy Monday. I hope you guys had a great new beginning this weekend. And yeah, there's a lot going on. Okay. We got stuff going on in Mexico. The tariffs popped off. Let's see what else happened. There was a lot that happened. So I'm going to recap as much as I can, the best I can. But with that, let's start with our kids' corner.
In a vibrant park, Alex felt the joy of a new day. The flowers danced with the breeze. At the pond, Alex watched the ducks swim. Their playful splashes made him giggle. Simple joys are everywhere. Alex met Mia, who shared her cookies. They laughed together, making a new friendship that brightened the day. Together, they climbed a tree. Alex felt brave and free, discovering the world from high above. On the grass, they watched clouds float by. Alex imagined castles and dragons, finding magic in simple things. Alex and Mia shared their toys, each taking turns. Their laughter filled the air, showing how sharing brings happiness. As the sun set, Alex felt grateful. He learned that joy comes from every little moment, and friends make it brighter. One day at a time, Alex found joy in the simple things. Remember, happiness is all around us if we take the time to see it. One sunny morning in a vibrant park, Alex felt the joy of
Happiness is all around us if we do take a moment to see it. And that's the one thing I want to remind us of, because you know what? It's rough out here, y'all. I'm just gonna say it. Spiritually, it's rough. Mentally, physically, it's rough. It's it's difficult because you don't know who to listen to, right? Or where the best information is coming from. I do my best here with what I'm doing, and I'm doing it on a small scale. Like, trust me, there's a lot of stuff that I have to do um, and multitask with all the time because it's just me. And I'm okay with it being just me because, I don't feel alone in the room because I have you guys. So thank you for joining me. Now, what we're also going to get to next is honoring God with our body. So, God, please guard our mind. Help me fix my thoughts on what is true and honorable and right and pure and lovely and admirable. So I will think about things that are excellent and worthy of praise. God, please protect our ears and help us listen to your voice. God, help me to be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. God, please protect my eyes from sin's damage. God, I make a covenant with my eyes not to look lustfully. God, please speak life over my mouth. God, set a guard over my mouth. Lord, keep watch over the doors of my lips. God, please help my hands to serve generously. God, help me to do good to everyone and especially to those who belong to our family in the faith. God, please protect my reproductive organs and help me to honor you with purity. God, help me to honor you with my body. And God, please protect our feet as we walk along your path. God, let your word be a lamp for my feet and a light on my path. And we definitely say that every day here on this show so we can be reminded of the things that we need to do and we need to stay focused on. So our first video Now, this video may not be for everybody, but I came across it. My husband, he watches a lot of these videos too. And I was really like, wow, that's interesting how somebody would say something like this woman is going to say. Um, and, a lot of times when people will say something and they say it in a way because they're comfortable, number one, and they're used to talking about people in a bad way. So they think everybody around them thinks the same way. So it's like, okay, this isn't your first time doing this. It's one of those things. This is not your first rodeo. It's not your first rodeo. But you think everybody in the room thinks like you. And it's very interesting to see how it all comes out and then how this person tries to walk it back. Okay, so let's check this out.
I'm Haitian. Why? Where you from? What's your background? You American? Dirty black American?
Wait, what?
Huh? Huh? What?
Wait, what'd you
American?
say?
Black American? What?
No. Hold on. You said dirty black American.
You heard that? You just asked me what I said. I did.
Why you say that?
Because that's what y'all are. Dirty black American. I did. A dirty black American. I sure did. Because that's what y'all are.
So all Americans is dirty black American?
I mean, the ones I've come across.
Huh?
So what is Haitians then? I'm confused.
Dirty black Haitians.
Okay, so keep that energy for everybody. Don't just keep it for us. Like, what are you talking about? Like,
You're American.
yeah, hell yeah. Don't ever say no dirty
from the
black
South?
American shit. Like, what?
You from the
Like,
South?
my
From the
family, like, yeah.
Okay, where?
Why it matter?
No, I'm just asking. No, we're not having a
Is
conversation.
the South regardless? Like, I got family in Florida. I got family in Georgia.
I mean, I want to know, like, where.
No, you trying to be. I know what you're doing. Like, I know what you're doing. It's that Caribbean shit. I know what you're doing.
What am I doing?
Just chill out on that dirty black American comment. That's all. Like,
I'm sorry. You really took offense to that. I apologize.
anybody would take offense to that.
I'm sorry. I apologize. I didn't.
Why you said that though?
Why you? I'm saying, why would you even fix your lips and say that? Though I'm confused.
Because that's just my experience. Like, it's my experience, so I'm gonna speak on it. But I
It's your
apologize.
experience?
It's your experience.
Yeah, so I apologize
What experience you had?
if I offended you.
You accept the apology?
No,
Nah,
he's
how?
not.
Like that's super disrespectful. Like,
She did say it's dirty black Haitians too though.
nah, she wouldn't. I would never fix my lips to say. And I know some dirty black Haitians. Like, you know what I'm saying. I would never fix my lips to
Okay.
say dirty black. I wouldn't generalize. Like, you know what I'm saying. So. Yeah, nah, it is, bro. That's that Caribbean.
It's
shit.
not.
And this is why we be
Crazy.
having the diaspora wars because the dumb shit words. Remember that other Haitian, bro? Remember the other Haitian shorty we?
I do apologize for the profanity. Some people do talk in this vernacular.
We don't got no culture. Like, it must be a Haitian thing for sure. Like, y'all, I don't know what
I
the
mean, it's
issue
not a
is.
Haitian thing, and I won't say that y'all don't have culture. Like, y'all have the things that y'all do.
We are the culture. Like,
Okay, y'all have the things that y'all do. Just
we are.
Now I'm going to pause it right there. Now, this has always been interesting to me, and I'm kind of it's because I'm glad that they're having this conversation because it needs to be had. It just let's have it. Let's have this conversation. And she was like, well, y'all have y'all's culture. And she's right. But he's also right. Because when he says we are the culture, you can go to Korea and see them doing bebop. Where did it come from? It came from New York. Okay. Who was doing bebop? Black Americans, right? And now it has been infused at a latter time with other cultures. So if you are from, let's say, a Latin background, it's going to take more of a Latin, leaning, but it still has its origin with Black Americans. And that's why he says, we are the culture. How many McDonald's commercials have you listened to where they don't try to infuse some type of hip hop in it? I'm just saying. Why is it needed or necessary? Because that's what some people like to listen to, and those are the people you're trying to attract, even if you're not trying to attract them. You know what I'm saying? Like, you've done this. You've made us, and because I'm Black American, and I will say it like this: you've made us infused in the culture, but at the same time, you want to demonize us, like this woman is saying, you're a dirty Black American. Like I said, it's a very fascinating conversation because these are the same individuals. When they get in trouble, then it's like we're in trouble. It's like, no, 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 no. There's no we. You're in trouble. We collectively are not in trouble because you just made the distinction. You're not us. And that's okay. I would rather know how much you do not like me or hate me than you lie to me about it. And you're completely undermining me every step of the way. And that's what happened in the 60s when this integration came about. Okay. Now there are some people that kind of, they'll be able to rock with me on that one. But look, she said what she said, 10 toes down. But now she's trying to walk it back. It's very interesting. Spud McKenzie, thank you and good morning to you. And Reparations Chief Justice Reparations on X says Grand Rising, Friedman on deck. And Beyond Skeptical says, yes, we've seen a lot of trifling words from those new to our lands. Yes, it's so sad. And Sincerely Lawless, she says, good morning, founder, and good morning to you. How are you? Like I said, I'm glad it happened because now we can have the real conversation because I'm still finding it fascinating because people keep saying, Black people, stand up for yourself. Why are you telling me I need to stand up for myself? I am. Like, what is that? And then when we do stand up for ourselves, wait a minute. You can't delineate. You just told me to stand up for myself. Like, what are we doing? Stop controlling what I say, what I do, who I am. Like, I need you guys to get a new hobby. I need you to get I need you to get a new project. That's it. That's what I mean. You need to find somebody else to manipulate, disrespect, make demands on. Let's see what else is there. Completely violate. Try to destroy whole communities and families. I need you to find something else to do because Black Americans are a little tired of what you're doing to us. So again, we're not going to do this when you're in trouble. It's a we thing. It's not a we thing. It's a you thing. So when you're in trouble, you're in trouble. So there's a lot of things happening, with people that are here and their temporary status has been revoked because it's temporary. It's only supposed to be 18 months. It never goes over that. Okay. That's why it's temporary. Temporary does not mean 20 years. Temporary means 18 months or less. Okay. And then you go back to your home country and that's it. Okay. Now there have been well over 30 countries that have been banned from the United States. And I'm okay. And Haiti's one of them. Y'all need to go home. It's time to go home. For those of you who do not have naturalized citizenship, you need to leave the soil. But those of you that are here, that are acting like, well, we're Haitians, we're not Americans, you can go home too. We're American over here. Don't play in our face. Go home if that's where you're at. Because that means you lied when you got your naturalization. Okay? Because see, when you come over here, you are supposed to denounce your other country and become an American, not an American Haitian. No, you're an American and that's it. You may be of Haitian descent, your ethnos, right? But you're an American. Yeah. Oh, yeah. See, that hits a little bit different, does it? Because you don't have anywhere else to be, right? And a lot of y'all, you don't mess with Black people. You just don't. It is what it is. And like I said, that's why I'm glad they're having this conversation.
Are the culture. That's
Just
it.
like, okay, so then Caribbeans are a culture too.
No, y'all have a culture. We are the culture. That's two different things.
It's not.
Okay, all right.
Yes, it is.
But no, seriously, you took offense, and I apologize. I see your nose flaring up, and I really don't want you to be upset. Like, I genuinely apologize. I'm sorry.
I mean, we ain't about to fight or nothing. I'm just like, yo,
but
this is super
I
crazy.
see that you're upset, so I really want you to know.
I felt like you was only comfortable because maybe you thought everybody in here was Caribbean and you thought they was they is black dirty and like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
not at all. I talk about about Haitians.
What'd you say about Haitians?
Run from them.
What she
like? Don't.
That's all I'm saying.
Like,
This
I'm
dirty
not.
black Haitians as well.
Nah,
but
that ain't the same thing.
What is your reasoning for saying that though? Like,
I just have bad experiences. That's all.
okay, relationship wise,
not just relationships, just
in general.
In general, so that's why I say that. But I apologize.
But you can't go around saying that.
I apologize.
Okay, the reason why she's having a bad experience is because she's very prejudiced. It's not a racist thing, it's prejudice. She's prejudging people based on how they look, assuming who they are. So the statement that she made wasn't a racist statement, it was a prejudice statement. It's very interesting that people forget that vernacular out of conversations. She's prejudging, and she's being called on it. And she doesn't know how to deal with it because she really doesn't know what she's doing. She can't say, I shouldn't be prejudicial or discriminatory in this conversation, which is what she's doing. She's being prejudiced and she's discriminating, right? She's taking groups and discriminating it against them as a group. And she's being very prejudiced by prejudging someone based on their look. She assumed something and then got caught. Just saying.
Sorry for having.
Now I'm trying to figure out, you and your Caribbean friends, y'all be talking like this, don't y'all?
No.
Yeah, they do.
I promise you, y'all probably be talking about it.
I promise.
Black
you,
Americans, they dirty. Them niggas, y'all be crazy like that.
Even I am just a very expressive person. Like I don't have a filter, so I apologize.
Okay.
I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it right. I didn't mean to be.
I mean,
it's disrespectful.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Like, but I didn't mean it to be disrespectful. No, but for real though, Eli.
Oh, now she's trying to be flirty.
It is just a sense of because we've been having these diaspora wars for the longest.
Okay, I don't want your perception of who I am to change because of that. Because I don't only say it about American, like I say it about Caribbeans, I say it about Chinese. I say
she's very prejudiced.
I doubt that,
it's
but
not racist.
No, I'm dead serious. It's just something that just flew off, but I apologize. Like sincerely apologize.
Sincerely apologize. You're sincerely, ma'am. Like I need you to sit down and have a conversation with yourself because this is bad. It's a bad look. Just look. It happened for a reason because there's a spirit in you. It's demonic and it's hateful. And it seeks to destroy and demean other people. I mean, there's a lot going on here we could get into spiritually. I'm not going to run it down, but we need to pray for her because whatever's going on with her, there's a lot of hurt that happened that she needs to deal with, right? Because she kept saying, I had a bad experience. Your bad experiences, though, shouldn't lead you to be prejudiced against others. People that you haven't even encountered or met. These gentlemen are new to you. So how are they like someone that you knew in the past? Again, the videos that I've seen, I was just like, and this one I pulled because it was just the direct context of the video. It wasn't someone, giving commentary to it. I just wanted to watch it straight through, but I feel bad for her because I know she's going to get drugged. And this is just the beginning because this just happened over the weekend. So I would say this week is going to be the week of this person, unfortunately, getting put on blast for making very prejudiced statements, not racist. She's not involved in an act of racism, calling someone what she did, but she was very prejudiced in her mindset because it was an assumption, right, of the people she sat in the room with. So again, we're praying for her, and I hope it will get better for her. Now, with that, I wanted to transition and talk about something that I came across online, and I was really surprised by it because I was like, this is what we're doing? Like, why are we doing this? And then I had to get a little bit more background on it. So apparently, Jasmine Crockett has decided that she's not going to attend the State of the Union address that's going to happen this week. She says, "We will not sit by and allow Trump and his administration to continue using fear to divide us and distract from the fact that they're stealing from working people to line their own pockets." She said that. Okay. Instead of listening to more of his lies at the State of the Union, I'm joining my colleagues and our movement partners for the People's State of the Union. And so this is the People's State of the Union. And then I replied to her post. I said, "You opened the borders. You lied about it when you did it. You forced men into female spaces and told children to mutilate themselves to be happy." She did all that. 10 toes down. She did all that. Stop it. You have no policy to fix the country. Also, members of Congress are lining their pockets. Stop it. So let's just do a little bit of a reprise from that video. Here's one that I listed first. Now, this is a high school principal. This deranged man disguises his pedophilia as infantilism, where people pretend to be infants. This is a school principal. This is somebody teaching. This is somebody supervising children. Okay. So let me play this video from the beginning. And he's filming himself, by the way. He's a grown man outside, filming himself.
This is the kind of man who feels entitled to use a women's restroom. This behavior is called infantilism, and it used to be considered a psychological disorder, but now it's essentially a sexual identity. And as we all know, we are expected to respect this man's desire to wear a diaper and drink from a baby bottle in public. So in an effort to not get banned from social media, I'm just going to remind parents out there that if you see someone like him going into a women's restroom with your daughter, you cannot be a good parent from a prison cell.
Yeah, so that's one. Right. Okay. Now, I just wanted to also remind Senator Crockett, because she's talking, they're stealing from the American people and lining their pockets. Are you sure about that? Because members of Congress are doing it too. Now, Senator Richard Blumenthal, top in trading volume and profits, 406 trades, netting around $80 million. Some sources cite 79.83 million to 85 million in total volume, trade volume, with high personal gains emphasized. This man doesn't have a job. He's working in Congress. How is he making $85 million? Because it's called insider trading, which no one in Congress will fix. And how dare you? But we will get to it, because you did call it out kind of properly. But y'all are doing it too. And you've been doing it. And this is the problem that people have with Washington. Everybody's lining their pockets. And like I said, we're going to get to it in just a second. But don't call it out like that if you're not going to call out everybody. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I have more respect for you if you say, yeah, members of Congress are doing it too, along with this administration. I'm okay with that. What I'm not okay with is this, see, they're not helping you. You're not helping us. What policies have you written to stop men from going in women's bathroom and being in women's sports? None. You stand 10 toes down and you support it. And I have you on camera saying it. I don't have it here today. Maybe I'll bring it up on Tell It All Tuesday. But ma'am, it's sad. Now, Representative Tan Sauzi highlighted for a strong performance with a reported 35% portfolio return in 2025, outperforming the S&P's 16.8%. What? Because, and that's Standard & Poor's, because he's trading inside. Let's check out this video. I played it for you guys last week, but let's just do a little recap.
top 10 congressional traders, the members of Congress who are making the most on their personal stock trades. Representative Gil Cisneros, who's from California, he has made 527 stock trades and almost $18 million. 9 is Representative Cleo Fields, a Democrat from Louisiana, made 185 total stock trades to make $20 million. This was during 1 year, by the way. Number 8 was Nancy Pelosi, Democrat from California, made 12 trades to make $27 million in 12 stock trades in 1 year. 7, Senator Dave McCormick, a Republican from Pennsylvania, 200 trades for about $29 million in a year. 6, Representative Daryl, I think it's Issa, a Republican from California, 1 trade worth $30 million. Number 5, Representative Jefferson Shreve, Republican from Indiana, 617 trades worth $30 million. Number 4, Representative Josh Gottheimer, a Democrat from New Jersey, 420 trades for $45 million. 3, Ro Khanna, Democrat from California, 3,923 trades worth $56 million in 1 year. Number 2, Representative Michael McCall, Republican from Texas, 1,029 trades worth $75.52 million. And number 1, any guesses? Any guesses who made the most money in 2025? Senator Richard Blumenthal, Democrat from Connecticut, 406 trades. He made $80 million last year. $80 million in 1 year. So great. By far, the person who has personally profited the most from insider, what we appear to assume is insider trading, allegedly, in Congress, is Nancy Pelosi. She has a almost 17,000% return on investment. That is not coincidence. She has beat the market by 581%. Nancy Pelosi has made a 16,930% return on investment, blasting past 2,300% for the Dow Jones over the same period of 37 years. It actually really hurts, by the way, when you start thinking about the fact that Nancy Pelosi, I'm not even making this up, was born before the invention of the microwave oven. She was born before Pearl Harbor.
Yeah. And these are the same people playing in our face, saying, oh, yeah, trust us. Trust us. They're stealing from working people to line their own pockets. You're all stealing from us to line your pockets. Stop it. So these are the members of Congress who are going to be at this People's State of the Union. I don't know what people you're talking about. Maybe it's all the people that you're on the I hate Trump train. Those people will be there. I don't know who else is supporting you in the fact, like I said, of insider trading. And this is both sides, Republican and Democrat, right? And I showed you that principal who believes he's a baby walking around in a dress, believing he's a woman too. It's a lot going on. That's a principal. I don't know if he's been fired or not, but my goodness. Okay. So we've got Senator Ed Markey, Jeff Merkley, Chris Murphy, Tina Smith, Chris Van Hollen, Yassine Ansari, Becca Bryant, Greg Cesar, Veronica Escobar, Maxwell Post, Jim Himes, Sarah Jacobs, Perlina Japala, I'm probably butchering these names, I'm sorry, John Larson, Senator, Representative Sidney, Kalamjar Dove, Summer Lee, Shelley Prigney, Ayanna Presley, Emily Rondell, Mary Gay Scalon, Della Ramirez, Bon Watson Coleman, and more. Hosted by Kathy Fong and Joy Reid. Featuring Aaron Parnas. You know, good on them if that's what they want to do. Now, you might be asking, has this been done before? It actually has been done before. So this isn't the first time that people have declined to attend the State of the Union address. And I had to look it up because I was like, I know it's happened more than once, because they wouldn't be doing it if they were the first ones like this, if that makes sense. They'd be doing if there was some type of precedent set. In my opinion, maybe they would be bold enough to do it, because I'm like, okay, You saw that was done before. So there have been several instances of members of Congress, mostly small groups or individuals, skipping the State of the Union address as a form of protest. But the clearest example of an organized campaign style boycott by a coordinated group of lawmakers occurred in 1971. And this was done by the Congressional Black Caucus, Democrats versus Republican President Richard Nixon. This remains the most prominent and explicitly organized group boycott in U.S. history. So all 12 African American members, and a lot of these people were not Black Americans. Let's just understand it. A lot of them were of some were Caribbean descent, whatever, but they were not all Black Americans. When we look at a Negro, these people were immigrants who got into office. They were not. They were naturalized. Let's just put it that way. They were naturalized. They were not born of the soil. So they included prominent figures such as Shirley Chisholm, Charles Diggs of Michigan, who chaired the group, John Conyers. John Conyers was there. That's how old he is. And he's still in office, by the way. I'm not sure why he has not lost his seat yet, because all he does is fish fries for people and nothing else and lines his pockets. So it's very crazy. Ron Dellums, Augustus Hawkins, Bill Clay, and others. The reason President Nixon had repeatedly refused requests from the CBC to meet and discuss issues affecting Black Americans, including civil rights, economic inequality, and administration policies, the group saw as disregarding their constituents. The CBC viewed this as a snub and a sign of broader disregard. So on the day of Nixon's State of the Union address, the members stayed away from the joint session of Congress. One member, Representative Bill Clay, publicly stated something to the effect, "We now refuse to be part of your audience. It is the first organized boycott of a presidential address to Congress by sitting House members." Okay. So the impact, the action received widespread national media coverage and was seen as a bold public statement that elevated the CBC's visibility early in its existence. Nixon eventually agreed to meet with the group on March 25, 1971. At that meeting, the CBC presented a detailed list of 60 recommendations on issues like voting rights, housing, healthcare, and employment for Black communities. That's interesting because this is done in 71. Didn't we get the Voting Rights Act solidified in 1965? Did I miss something, Bueller? At this point, we have the Office of Civil Rights that nobody knows about, but is getting paid, you know what I'm saying, to keep the lights on. Millions of dollars a year that Black people don't even know about. You're not fighting for that. You're not talking about that, but you're talking about voting rights. Okay. So contemporary reports describe it as the largest known boycott of State of the Union up to that point. It set a precedent for using absence from the address as a high-profile protest tactic. Okay, so here are some other notable addresses. 2018, at least 4 House Democrats, Frederica Wilson, Pamela Jampala, skipped over Trump's reported whole country's remarks. Okay, so they didn't attend. And in 2020, at least 10 House Democrats, Alexandria Cortez, Ayanna Pressley, and Maxine Waters, boycotted on the eve of Trump's impeachment acquittal vote. So Republican examples, most individual or very small actions, such as Doug Lamborn, Colorado, boycotting President Obama's 2012 address over policy disagreements, or a handful of Republicans skipping President Clinton's 1999 address after his impeachment. No large-scale coordinated Republican campaign matching the 1971 scale appears on record. So they were just mad, but they weren't doing anything. You know what I'm saying? In 1971, they were like, these are the policies that we want. Okay, and we're going to kind of sit it out until you give us what we want. I still don't see the effects of what they asked for. I'm just saying, I didn't see what y'all asked for really affect my life in a positive way, because I was born in 1971. And I saw the struggles that my mom had to go through, and we had a congressional Black caucus, and I saw the invasion then when I was 10 years old when we lived in Southern California. We lived in Orange County, California in particular, and I saw the mass immigration that drove down wages and how you still at that time catered to illegal immigrants because you didn't send them back. You allowed them in here in mass. This is the Democratic Party, and I'm not excusing the Republican Party that still supported some of these efforts and issues because it built their companies up as well. So they're both responsible because nobody stopped it and you basically enabled it. Okay. So I read you the Republican examples. All right. Now in 2026, in the lead up to the State of the Union address scheduled for tomorrow, right, the 24th, a group of a dozen Democrats, including several senators and House members, publicly announced they would skip the address and attend alternative People's State of the Union rallies on the National Mall organized by progressive groups. This is another coordinated protest effort by Democrats, though smaller than 1971. Wow. So that's interesting. So this is still smaller than 1971. So we'll have to see. Now, boycotts are rare and usually symbolic. Most members still attend regardless of party. The 1971 CBC action stands out as the clearest historical case of a true organized campaign by members of Congress to collectively not attend. Okay. So I said, so side note, right? Can you tell me what Nixon did for the Black community, if anything, right? I just wanted to know, like, did anything come of their quarrel? Right. And so Nixon's records on issues of the Black community is complex. It is often debated. He is frequently criticized for his Southern strategy, appealing to white Southern voters with coded racial messaging. Opposition to busing for school desegregation, support for law and order, policies seen as targeting Black activism, and private racist remarks captured on tapes. The war on drugs he launched, also has also been widely criticized for disproportionately harming Black communities through enforcement and incarceration. Yeah, the war on drugs was not about drugs. It was about further harm to the Black community, which it did. So that said, his administration did implement several policies and actions that historians and sources, including some civil rights analysis and Nixon Foundation retrospectives, credit as positive steps for Black Americans, particularly in economic opportunity, education, and enforcement of existing civil rights laws. These were often framed under the banner of Black capitalism, which emphasized entrepreneurship and minority business development as a path to economic self-reliance rather than large-scale government welfare programs. Okay. Here are the key areas where Nixon administration took actions that benefited Black Americans, drawing from historical records, executive orders, policy outcomes. So promotion of minority business enterprise, Black capitalism. In 1969, Nixon signed Executive Order 11458, creating the Office of Minority Business Enterprise, OMBE, within the Department of Commerce. This was the first major federal effort to coordinate support for minority-owned businesses, including access to loans from the Small Business Administration, previously limited or unavailable to many Black entrepreneurs. It laid groundwork for modern supplier diversity programs and set-asides for minority contractors. Federal purchases from Black-owned businesses surged dramatically from about 13 million in 1969 to 142 million by 1971, roughly a 900% increase. While critics argue the program was underfunded and more symbolic than transformative, it helped foster a generation of Black entrepreneurs and influence federal policy for decades. Here's my problem. Why wasn't it codified into law? I'll have to get more into the Office of Minority Business Enterprise and find out, like, does it exist today, or, can we reprise it? Like, what's going on? But Things that are executive orders can be put into law. He gave y'all an alley-oop, CBC. What did you do with it? What did you do with it? I don't think he did anything with it. Just saying. We have Black entrepreneurs struggling today to get what they need. We literally have other communities in the Black community siphoning off the dollars of the Black community, and we're wondering where our wealth is going. It's going to everybody else because we can't build it in our own community, while people keep slapping us upside the head saying you need to build your economic wealth, while not taking those people out of our community, while giving them access and entry to our dollars. It's crazy. I'm just going to say it. It's crazy. It needs to stop. Now, school desegregation enforcement. Despite Nixon's public school opposition to mandatory busing, his administration oversaw the most significant progress in desegregation Southern public schools since Brown versus Board of Education in 1954. 1970 alone, the percentage of Black children in integrated Southern schools rose sharply from low single digits in many areas to much higher levels. Historians like Tom Wicker in 2003 New York Times piece noted that Nixon personally conceived the led efforts that accomplished more desegregation in that year than in the prior 16 years combined. The administration enforced court orders and worked with the Justice Department to implement integration plans. Anybody know about that? Okay. Now, a lot of people might say desegregation harmed the Black community because we were, taking on things that didn't belong to us, right? And what I'm saying about that is we took on forced education and not learning about our own education, right? We losing about our own history because we had to learn about everybody else's history. So a lot of people, even though they were forced, they were like, yeah, we need to be desegregated and not segregated. Some people still do hold the opinion that segregation was a harm. Just saying. I'm just saying in the South. Like the people from the North, and I was actually listening to Sunny's Corner yesterday, and they were, throwing, sharing some things. And I was like, yeah, I could kind of see how people from the North, if they were from the South, right? And then they got kind of northernized, and then they come back down to the South with their, suits and city slicker mentality, saying, hey, you guys need to, talk to each other, be a part of each other. And the Black folks is like, we stand over here. The white folks are staying over there. We all get along as long as we're kind of apart at the same time. We're good, right? we're good down here. We don't need your, city slickerness down here. But when that city slickerness came down to the South, it kind of damaged some people. And that's the opinion of some people. Just saying. So increased funding for historically Black colleges. Wow, he actually did that. And education federal aid to predominantly Black college more than doubled between 1969 and 1973. Nixon also supported matching funds for schools serving high poverty, often minority students, and initiated the Emergency School Aid Act to promote interracial experiences and reduce racial isolation in education. Affirmative action and workplace equity. The administration revived and enforced the Philadelphia Plan, a Johnson-era initiative for minority hiring quotas in federal construction contracts, and expanded affirmative action guidelines. It dismantled discriminatory practices in labor unions and excluded minorities from skilled trades. Civil rights enforcement agencies budgets, EEOC, Office of Federal Contract Compliance, grew significantly from $75 million in 1969 to over $600 million in 1972. Other steps: Nixon signed extensions and expansions of Voting Rights Act. 1970, nationalizing its protections. He appointed more Black officials to federal positions than previous administrations in some accounts, and increased overall civil rights programming funding. So looking at timelines, so this was in 1970. So this was before 1971. All right. So these efforts were often pragmatic or politically motivated, right? Co opting elements of Black power rhetoric to diffuse radicalism while appealing to moderate voters. And many Black leaders and the Congressional Black Caucus viewed them as insufficient, right? Hence the 1971 boycott over Nixon's initial refusal to meet with them. After the boycott, they did meet. The CBC presented recommendations, some of which aligned with or influenced ongoing programs. Overall, Nixon did take concrete steps that advanced economic access, school integration, and enforcement in ways that measurable positive impacts for parts of the Black community, even as his broader record includes significant criticisms on race. Perspectives vary widely depending on the source. Progressive critiques emphasize the negatives, while some conservative or Nixon specific retrospectives highlight the achievements. So he did things, and like I'm saying, your boycott was in 1971. This happened in 1970. This grew from 1969 to 1972. So obviously he did something before 71. Did something before 71 here. Just saying. I was born in 71, so it's kind of a favorite number for me. I'm just saying. But there were some things that he did. So I'm like, Congressional Black Caucus, what did you do that was better? Because right now, to date, the Congressional Black Caucus is non-existent and they're disgusting. And we need real Black Americans in the Black Caucus. And what's also fascinating about that caucus is it's predominantly Democrat. Ilhan Omar's in the Congressional Black Caucus. Why? You're not a Black American. You're Somalian. But, oh, yes, you're American now, right? You're American now. And you still don't like us. And we know it. Because who you support. You do not support us. But that's okay. Because, things will turn around. This isn't over. This is not over. And want to get to some of the comments here. I'm sorry, y'all. I just been reading and looked at the comments yet. Okay. And Hellfire Halo says, good morning from New York. He says, prejudice can be a result of personal experiences. Absolutely. Absolutely. And fear is a healthy response when facing the unknown. Okay, understood. Beyond skeptical. Thank you for the hand claps. He said, some fetishes like to film themselves in humiliating situations. It's weird. He's a principal, though. I mean, why are you filming yourself? Look, that's the bigger question. Why are you doing that? And Hello Fire says, libs Dems need to keep their hands out of APAC's pockets and realize that they're contributing to the moral decline of Western civilization. Like, I know, like that's like a whole nother conversation going on there, but I can understand it because the different influences. Beyond Skeptical says, geez. And Hello Fire says, Pelosi is married to a Rothschild. Yes. Yeah. So keeping it in the family, right? Because you wonder how the Rockefellers and Rothschilds, like, how are they billionaires? They don't make anything. They don't own anything, right? Have you ever purchased a Rothschild newspaper or driven in one of their cars or, washing machine? Do they own patents? No. They enriched themselves working with the federal government. That's how they made their money. And I'll say allegedly, but yeah, that's how they made their money. That's how they're billionaires, and that's how they stay billionaires. So with that, let's keep it moving, right? So that's what's happening at the State of the Union. But I wanted to play a video by a representative before we get out of here. And this person's going to share with us why they have decided to not attend tomorrow's State of the Union address.
I will not be attending the State of the Union. And an overwhelming majority of my constituents are backing me up on this one. Here's why. It's because of what Trump has done to our country, our civil rights, and our democracy. So we cannot treat this as a normal moment. We cannot continue on with this.
But see, here's what I don't understand. What's happened to my civil rights? What has happened to my civil rights? What's happened to anybody's civil rights? The only people who think they have rights here are here illegally, and they don't have a right to be here. So if those are the people you're talking about, ma'am, dial it back. But see how she makes all of these assumptions, and this is happening without any backup. Prove what you're talking about. Don't just say things. Bring the receipts. Just saying.
Business as usual, while our democracy is under attack by a president.
By the way, we are a constitutional republic. They need to stop with this democracy stuff. It's very telling of who this person is and their politics. Very crazy.
President who thinks he's above the law. And then on top of that, he has signed legislation that will result in thousands of people in our district losing their health care and nutrition benefits. Mm-hmm. So I know Northeast Ohio has had enough, and I have definitely had enough. You see, attendance is a way of signaling respect, but in this case, absence is a way of signaling conscience. And I've chosen to go with my conscience on this one. So, no, I am not going to be there because this is an all hands on deck moment to rein in this president and let him know we will not stand for his lies. We will not stand for his name calling or his attacks. We will fight back and we will win.
Okay, so first of all, let's talk about her constituents who are going to lose their health care benefits and their food stamps. These are illegals that are here that shouldn't be getting anything anyway. What are you talking about? And you're not helping anybody, keeping people on government assistance anyway. What are you talking about? You're not talking about helping anybody build a business. You're not talking about anybody going out there and actually getting it done from the dirt, ma'am. What are you talking about? So you want to expand government and have more people on government assistance? To do what? To be slaves? Huh? What are you talking about? No, I'm going to stop playing with these politicians. Republican, Democrat, Libertarian, I don't care who you are. If you hold a seat and you are petitioning and saying, hey, we want people to get free stuff from the government, stop it right now. Now, a lot of people may argue, well, there are Black people out there talking about they want reparations. We want repair for the damage that has been done to our community till this date. Because by the way, under the last administration, most of the illegals that came here, they went into the Black community. They went to Martha's Vineyard, and Martha's Vineyard gave them a snack and sent them away on a bus. Oh, all that happened. And we all saw it. You sent them away. You didn't open schools. You didn't make concessions for them. You did nothing. You gave them a snack, took a photo op, put them back on the bus, and sent them away. You sent them to New York predominantly, where they built up all kinds of hotels and everything, getting federal funding. And when that was shut down, y'all got upset because they did claw back that FEMA money. Mm-hmm. You're still mad. Still fighting for food stamps for some of these people in certain states, and you won't turn over the information for the individuals. Yeah, they all gonna have to reapply anyway. We're gonna find out that you have been giving illegals money, and I want every single one of you in prison for all of the crimes you committed, up to people in Congress writing policy that violates federal law. I want you all in prison. Okay? That would make my day. Because it's enough of this. You don't care. You don't care about the American people. You care about lining your own pockets. You don't care. You literally sat there and said, people aren't getting medical and they're not getting food. No, and they shouldn't be, ma'am, because they're not from here. And even Americans that are here, the question is, are they the most vulnerable among us that are getting the assistance? No. They have to fight for theirs if they're Americans, but you're going to give it to all the people that are here illegally. What is wrong with you? And those are facts. We've seen it. You can no longer hide. And again, the American people, we're tired. So let's keep it moving. Now, she was talking about the tariffs. A lot of people have been talking about these tariffs. I'm going to play a video from Donald Trump because this man, I'm just saying. Yeah. Let's get into it.
To, but again, those three people, such respect. I've had a lot of respect for them anyway, but such great respect. But other alternatives will now be used to replace the ones that the court incorrectly rejected. We have alternatives, great alternatives. Could be more money. We'll take in more money, and we'll be a lot stronger for it. We're taking in hundreds of billions of dollars. We'll continue to do so. To show you how ridiculous the opinion is, however, the court said that I'm not allowed to charge even $1. I can't charge $1. Can't charge $1. I would have used 1 penny, but we don't make the pennies anymore. We save money. Can't charge $1 to any country under IEPA. Not $1. I assume to protect other countries. This must have been done to protect those other countries, certainly not the United States of America, which they should be interested in protecting. That's what they're supposed to be protecting. But I am allowed to cut off any and all trade or business with that same country. In other words, I can destroy the trade. I can destroy the country. I'm even allowed to impose a foreign country destroying embargo. I can embargo. I can do anything I want, but I can't charge $1. Because that's not what it says. And that's not the way it even reads. I can do anything I want to do to them, but I can't charge any money. So I'm allowed to destroy the country, but I can't charge them a little fee. I could give them a little 2-cent fee, but I cannot charge under any circumstances. I cannot charge them anything. Think of that. How ridiculous is that? I'm allowed to embargo them. I'm allowed to tell them you can't do business in the United States anymore. We want you out of here. But if I want to charge them $10, I can't do that. It's incorrect. Their decision's incorrect. But it doesn't matter because we have very powerful alternatives that have been approved by this decision. You know, they've been approved by the decision for those that thought they had us.
So let's look at what some of those decisions are that he's talking about or mentioning in this video. Okay. So he criticizes the Supreme Court as ridiculous and deeply disappointing, claiming it protects foreign countries over the U.S. He highlights the absurdity. The court ruled he cannot impose even $1 or a penny in tariffs on any country under that authority, not $1. However, he argues the ruling still allows extreme alternatives, stating, I am allowed to cut off any and all trade or business with that same country. I can destroy the trade. I can destroy the country. I'm even allowed to impose a foreign country destroying embargo. I can embargo. I can do anything I want, but I can't charge him $1, as you heard him say. He mentions great alternatives that could generate more money than the block tariffs, referencing past collections of hundreds of billions of dollars and implying stronger U.S. positioning. Okay. And so I was trying to find out what he meant. So Trump responded by pivoting to other authorities, Section 122 of the Trade Act of 1974, to impose new global tariffs, initially announced as 10% on all imports over and above existing ones, then quickly raised to 15%, the maximum allowed under that provision, shortly after, effective for temporary period of like 150 days. Yeah. So that's what he's talking about. That's what he's referring to. Section 122. So we'll get into that probably a little bit more tomorrow when we do Tell It All Tuesday and take a deep dive on Section 122. But Tatas, thank you so much for joining us and reposting the stream. She says, right, a snack, then back on the bus. Yeah, that happened. We all saw it. It was crazy. It was very, very crazy. And now I want to shift a little bit and talk about the man that was standing on Trump's. If you were looking at it, it was, I guess, on his left-hand side, Lutnick. Yeah, this guy. Okay, so apparently his sons kind of knew, supposedly, that these tariffs wouldn't work and they might get shut down. And they bet against the market. Yeah, it made billions of dollars. So Alex has a breakdown of that from InfoWars. So let's check this out.
Wall Street bet against the Trump tariffs. You mean Lutnick and Bessent's sons and all of them did? Oh, they're all in on it. The sons are all being used as the bagmen. He and his family made gigantic bets that this would get reversed because it does destroy the heart of the globalist takeover and ends our economic surrender. And Lutnick was always a Democrat and always for those bad policies before. But suddenly he's all for it, and him and his buddies have made tens of billions now, it's estimated. Well, let me see. You got to pay back $175 billion at least. You got to pay it back with a whole bunch of penalty and interest. And then these are the guys that bought all that up from people that wanted to sell their insurance in it. So now the Lutnicks and others go and they collect on it. And you're the one that set the policy because you knew the Supreme Court insiders were going to deep six it. You knew what would stand, what wouldn't. Insiders and experts predicted all this on my show. And you did it, Lutnick. Yeah, that's criminal, in my view. $175 billion, they're saying, has to be refunded. So the couple $100 billion that doesn't. The emergency wartime stuff, they say is constitutional, which it is 100%. But his other emergency tariffs are saying aren't, even though there's clear precedent. And so Trump can now retailer the other powers he has, but now he got to refund the money. Funny, I heard that predicted 6 months ago by a couple of economists we had on, that Lutnick was the one advising it, even though in a company he's in, he's heavily invested and set to make billions off of the refunds. Ahead of tariffs ruling, businesses race to secure refunds. Now, this is back in December. Well, who sets that up? Howard Lutnick's family firm bought up the rights to tariff refunds for 20, 30 cents on the dollar after Liberation Day last year. Today, the Supreme Court struck down tariffs. For every $100 invested, Lutnick's sons just made 3 to 5x. Welcome to crony corrupt America. Yeah, that's true. Overhead shot, please. So that is a big deal. So
now pause it. Now this is the same Lutnick, yes, that was on Epstein's Island. Yes, the same man who had his family and another family and outlining the ages of the children that were on the boat. Yeah, that same guy hanging out. And he was hanging out with Epstein after 2009. So you knew who this man was. We'll get more into it on Tell It All Tuesday. But yeah, Mr. Lutnick. And he's in the administration. Like, I'm a small channel. But Mr. Trump, if you're listening, fire this man immediately and make a public spectacle of him, and that you will distance yourself from this human who has enriched himself, and you need to throw him to the wolves, and he needs to be in prison along with his sons because they used insider trading to enrich themselves. But if you're going to do that, then you got to do it to everybody in Congress. So how is this going to fall out? How is this going to play out? Because if he goes down, then everybody's got to go down. Because if he goes down and nobody else does, what does that say about our country? Make it happen. I'm just saying.
This is a blow against America. There's a New York Times article. Wall Street bet against the Trump tariffs. You mean Ludnick and Bessent's sons and all of them did? Oh, they're all in on it. The sons are all being used as the bagmen. Now, you got Pelosi and her record insider trading and all the corruption they do, but I'm not going to sit here, and I haven't, while I watch all the sons of the president and the rest of them. I don't even think they're committing crimes. Other than you call it insider trading, but they've got passed laws that the executive and the Congress basically can do this. We need to change those laws. And look, I know they took half of Trump's wealth and almost destroyed him. I'm not mad that he's got foreign investments and things, but not when it's against American interest. And I look at the sons, all of them. I mean, every damn one of them. Everybody in that cabinet, other than the vice president, I guess because his kids are too little, or maybe he's moral. I like J.D. Vance, are cashing in like bandits right now. And I don't want to hear from the Democrats, because at least everything Trump's doing economically is pro-America, and he's investing in the very ideas and stuff that he's making money off of and bringing the jobs back here. So there's nothing wrong with betting on America and then betting on your own bet. So you guys are 1,000 times worse. So I don't want to hear it from you taking a clip out of context. I'm just calling it like it is, okay? My job's easy. I'm not holding nothing back, calling balls and strikes. And let's just say a lot of it's unsavory. And they're going to use it against Trump when they get control of the Congress because of the handling of the Epstein stuff. On current trajectory, they're going to get big control of the Senate and House. Big control. Big control of the House, maybe low control, small margin in the Senate, maybe bigger. And then it does not look good. And Trump's like, well, I had the DOJ sign off, and they did that, and they're doing 10 times more intense. When has that ever stopped Democrats? They're all over the Epstein files, 99% of it, and they're still running around cherry picking it. I mean, it's who they are. They have no shame. Wall Street's bet against the Trump tariffs. So here's my problem with Ludnick. He and his family made gigantic bets that this would get reversed, because it does destroy the heart of the globalist takeover and ends our economic surrender. And Ludnick was always a Democrat and always for those bad policies before. But suddenly he's all for it, and him and his buddies have made tens of billions now, it's estimated. Well, let me see. You got to pay back $175 billion at least. You got to pay it back with a whole bunch of penalty and interest. And then these are the guys that bought all that up from people that wanted to sell their insurance in it. So now the Ludniks and others go and they collect on it. And you're the one that set the policy because you knew the Supreme Court insiders were going to deep six it. You knew what would stand, what wouldn't. Insiders and experts predicted all this on my show. And you did it, Ludnick. Yeah, that's criminal, in my view. I mean, if you are investing in something and, pushing oil industry and you're going to get tax incentives, and there's nothing wrong if you're the president and you're pro-oil or pro-gas, and then your family invests in oil and gas, no problem with that. You're investing in what you believe in. It's like I'm a pro-gun guy, and I was going to buy stocks and be in gun companies, even though they're not the best stocks. I've never owned any stocks, zero, because I don't want to even have the view of impropriety or obsess on it. Because anything I'm into, I learn about. I got to watch it. I got to just win, and just watching other people's stock stuff, I'm just like, and I'm just like, no, if I own stock or currency traded and stuff, knowing all the stuff I know and all my sources, I do it full time. And I have a ton of money but I would not be on air. So I strategically made the decision never to do that. But I can look at what these guys are doing. And I mean, let's just say it. A bunch of the coins that groups that the president's with and all the kids put out. I say kids, most of them are older than me. They were rug pulls. Where you get everybody to invest in it, and then you pull the rug out from under them. It's like, okay, you know, well, they could ride it up and ride it down. They could know when to get out. I get that. I know. Real estate's a Ponzi scheme.
They are properly termed as pump and dumps. Okay, that's what he's talking about.
Everything's a bubble. You go to Vegas, you know it's house rules. I get it, but just we don't need to be like the Democrats, and I'm not. So I'm not going to sit here and play along with this. And we did not see this type of crap during the first Trump administration. We're seeing a lot better action for the people. So I like that. But when it comes to profiteering, it's unsavory. And in some cases, I believe illegal. Thanks for all your support. Today and tomorrow, the last day.
And I'm glad that, you know, Alex at least keeps it honest. You know what I'm saying? He keeps it honest. He's like, I don't agree with you. And I'm not going to agree with you. So that's what's happening. And J 1989 says, top of the morning, peace and blessings. Top of the morning to you as well. Thank you so much for joining us here on Unfiltered Vision News. We're going to take a bit of a break. And when we come back, we're going to get into more of this Monday recap news. So thank you so much for joining me here on Unfiltered Vision News. And we will see you on the other side.
A life empowered is closer than you think. We're all looking for a better way. Reimagine what's next with a new sense of exuberance. Why not power on like you mean it? Or power off blissfully? A better sleep is a better awake. You've never moved like this before. With the energy nature intended. Imagine reprogramming the way you look at the speed of science. At longevity. At exhilaration. It's next level rejuvenation. Take your well-being from the inside out and outside in. The light within is ready to ignite. Be the light. LifeWave.
And we are back. Thank you so much for joining me here on Unfiltered Vision News, bringing you the news unfiltered Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 a.m. Eastern. My name is Dr. Ashaki Noni Nichols, and I will be your host. So thank you guys so much again for joining me here this morning. And what we're going to get into next is Lutnick, right? You heard him mentioned by Alex Jones, and there was actually a article in regards to him. Is Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick profiting from the Supreme Court's tariff ruling? And he is. As you just heard Alex lay it all out, his sons betted against the market, but they kind of knew what was coming down. So the question is this a RICO case? Are we gonna go after people? Okay, Democrats, are you gonna do something about this? Because like this is real crime, right? This is real crime. Now, I like the policies that President Trump is putting out, hands down. I do like some of the policies. Not all of them, but some of them, yes. What's going on? What is happening with this guy? You, like I said, fired immediately, throw him to the wolves, and whatever happens to him happens. But do not protect him at all. Period. They were wrong in what they did. They're making money hand over fist. This should not be their piggy bank. They are enriching themselves being close to you. They got to go. They got to go. So, for context, the claim rests on Wired, which is a left based report from July that said, and now this was from July, it's February, so this was last year. Lutnick's former firm, Cantor Fitzgerald, wow. Okay, Cantor, which is now headed by his sons, allowed its traders to purchase options that would allow them to profit if Trump's tariffs were struck down in court. Why would they make an instrument like that if they had no idea? It's because they did. And you encourage Trump to put these particular tariffs in place so you could benefit from them later. I mean, this is disgusting. Truly disgusting. Prison. See, people like Lutnick and his sons and this little firm, I want you all in prison. Period. Because you set not only the president up, you set up the American people. You need to be in jail. Let's go. But like I said, if you're going to do it to him, you got to do it to everybody. You've actually got to put measures in place that say you cannot enrich yourselves off of the federal government while you're there. And you can't keep friends either when you leave. It's one thing to know the market and be like, okay, I understand this, but it's another thing to have friends in high places who give you information so you can make the right moves in the market and enrich yourselves. You're not supposed to do that. That's why we have insider trading laws that you don't abide by, apparently. You don't care. But that's what you're doing. So a spokesperson for Cantor Fitzgerald said Cantor Fitzgerald has never executed any transactions or taken risk on the legality of tariffs. Any report suggested otherwise is completely false. Okay. Semaphore that leans left reported Cantor did consider their product, which has existed for years and was a humming trade on Wall Street during Trump's first term tariff push, but decided against it, weighing the political sensitivities, according to a senior banker familiar with the matter. Okay, so the left, the New Republic, Raw Story on the left, ran stories suggesting Cantor Fitzgerald stood to profit from the Supreme Court's ruling. Newsweek, which is center and published fact checks of the coverage, Liz Hoffman of Semaphore included commentary at the end of her report. She wrote, ironically, this is business Cantor should have been doing. The fact that Cantor didn't suggest it's keenly sensitive to the optics of Lutnick's role, Trump critics and the media have documented penalty of cases of self-dealing around the Trump White House, but this doesn't appear to be one of them. So on the one hand, they were kind of betting against the market, right? So what if the tariffs weren't struck down? Then they wouldn't have made any money, and they would have been like, okay, we didn't make any money. But they kind of knew that they were going to. So why create the instrument? And you create it in the first term. So it didn't cash out for you the first term. So you're just like, okay. See, I would like to see the investment, the people that ran to invest in it. Does that make sense? Like, say if you got 5 people from the first administration and the same 5 people stayed and benefited. But if you have 5 people and it became 100 people, what? Yeah, it's that part. It's that part. Yeah. So you're enriching yourself off the federal government. It's insider trading. I don't like it. I want it stopped. And the question is, will it stop? We don't know. Now let's get back into some other news. We do have some violence going on in Mexico. So let's check in on that.
Thanks for joining us on the Fox 11 Weekend News. We're following breaking news out of Mexico, where violence has erupted in Puerto Vallarta and Guadalajara after the Mexican army killed the leader of one of the country's most powerful cartels. U.S. citizens are now being ordered to shelter in place. Jalisco New Generation cartel leaders Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes, also known as El Mencho, was killed after an operation to capture him earlier today. Officials say he died while being flown to Mexico City. Since then, many cars and buildings have been set on fire, which is a tactic used by the cartel to block military operations. Violence also sending people running for safety in the Guadalajara airport. The U.S. State Department is warning U.S. citizens in Jalisco, which includes Puerto Vallarta and Guadalajara, Tamaulipas, Michoacan, Guerrero, and Nuevo León to shelter in place. Here at home, there's growing concern flights to and from LAX will be impacted by the violence in Mexico. Fox 7's Laura Diaz just arrived at the airport. And Laura, what are you noticing there at LAX?
Well, Susan, as you just mentioned, we just arrived a short time ago. I did approach people to see if they even knew anything about the chaos happening in Mexico. Most people didn't have any knowledge of it. But as you just mentioned, we are hearing that, flights have been disrupted out of Guadalajara and Puerto Vallarta. And of course, people who are there, they're concerned about it. Now, I spoke earlier today, I spoke to an Orange County woman who was on holiday in Guadalajara, and she said that she was staying in an American hotel, but then after everything erupted, they made the decision to leave that American hotel, and I talked to them from an undisclosed location.
I was way more on edge, way more scared. I would say on edge, right? Like hyper vigilant, I guess. I'm not scared anymore. I'm a little bit not looking forward to the next 24 hours because we don't have AC. We have we only have so much water. We only have a sandwich to get by. It's not the vacation I was hoping for, but I'm not scared to right now. If we were to fly out tomorrow, I'd be scared.
Well, the trio told me that, in fact, they'd been drinking a little to take an edge off. I think you can hear that a little bit. But they would not tell me specifically where they were, but they felt perhaps that they were in greater danger by staying in an American hotel. So getting back to what's happening there, they told me that it was a ghost town. When they left that American hotel to go where they are now, literally nobody on the streets. They did see smoke in the distance, but they did not witness these spot fires that are being reported in Puerto Vallarta. But they planned to stay where they were for the night. They had one sandwich to get through the night. Originally, they were supposed to fly out tomorrow. They don't know if they'll be able to do that. I think probably not, but they were grateful that they were not at the airport today. They said normally they would take a flight on a Sunday. That's their MO. That wasn't part of this trip. They were always slated to take off tomorrow, but they were super grateful that they weren't there when that violence broke out, because people described it as being terrifying and having to take cover behind a chair or some kind of a kiosk to try to save their own lives. So that's the latest here. As I'm able to get more information, Susan, I'll certainly bring it to you at 10 o'clock. I'm Laura Diaz reporting live from LAX, sending it back to the studio.
Laura, why is it that she felt like she would be safer at a different hotel? I'm sure you addressed this a little bit, but for my clarity.
Well, there have been rumors going around, and I feel a little reluctant to repeat it because I can't vet it. But some people felt that Americans were being targeted. So they felt that if they were at an American brand hotel, they might be a target. One of the women in the group dates a man who is Mexican. So he took them to a location which wouldn't be someplace you'd ordinarily look for an American. But they had one sandwich to get through the night and a little bit of water. So it was kind of like they were camping out, but they felt grateful to have the advice of somebody who was a Mexican citizen and who said, I can take you to a safe place. So they elected to do that, even though they said the people at the hotel said, don't leave, it's dangerous on the streets. They left anyway.
Laura Diaz, thank you.
Yeah. Very interesting. Very interesting what's happening in Mexico, because there was another news article that I came across that said, okay, now that the leader is passed away, who's the next in line to take their place? Like, this crime is very organized and it is very large. They have been deemed a terrorist organization by the US, right? Okay. So there limitations. So hopefully they're not coming across the border, even though we know some of them are already here. But it does still leave the question, who is going to take this person's place? Because unfortunately, because these gangs have been empowered and enriched by their own politicians, is anybody really going to take them down? Are you really going to do it? Now, see, they did it in El Salvador. I'm just saying. He shut it down. He used the power of the military and he shut it down. He went after every single one of them. You have that. But see, there are people in the military, in the police, in the politicians in Mexico. They're on the side of the criminals. They're not on the side of being right and good and actually doing well by the people. So it all comes back to, are you going to do the right thing? It really does come back to that. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, definitely pray for the people in Mexico because they're going through it right now. And the American citizens that are there. Like, look, I'd be trying to hop on a cruise right now. I'd be like, where is the nearest cruise ship? Get me home. Okay. If I can't get in the air, get me home. But that's just my suggestion, off topic. Now, I also wanted to look at Governor Wes Moore. You guys know he is in Baltimore, Maryland. Well, not in the city of Baltimore, but we'll say he's in Maryland, right? I say Baltimore, Maryland because people, they know the Ravens, and that kind of puts you like, okay, so they are a part of the DMV, which is Delaware, Maryland, and what is it? Virginia? Yes, that's the DMV. I always have to remember that. DMV. So when you hear that, those are the three states that intersect, and there's a lot of politics, right? Because you got Washington, DC, you've got, again, Maryland, and you've got Virginia. So it's very interesting. But I wanted to, like I said, I wanted to check this out and see what's going on, because it's a showdown between the sheriff and the governor. It's weird, but we gotta see what's going on and let this play out.
Ongoing conversations after Governor Moore signed a bill banning 287G agreements. Sheriffs across the state have been outspoken about this legislation, worried it would put public safety at risk. And that's why they gathered in Annapolis today to talk about potential legal action. Fox 45's Jessica Babb. They're live tonight breaking down where they stand on this issue. Jessica.
So after that meeting that you mentioned today, sheriffs across Maryland announced they aren't planning on moving forward with legal action right now. They say they've talked with attorneys and looked at the laws, but don't feel they have the grounds for a lawsuit. But they say they will continue cooperating with ICE, just without a formal agreement. On the heels of Governor Wes Moore signing emergency legislation banning 287G agreements in Maryland.
We refuse to blur the lines between state and federal authority in ways that undermine the trust between law enforcement and the communities that they serve.
The agreements letting local jurisdictions work with ICE, allowing detention centers to screen inmates, determining who may be in the country illegally, and in some cases serve warrants.
By terminating these 287G agreements today, we know that ICE will no longer be assisted or subsidized by local law enforcement.
Sheriffs across the state are sounding off.
It is the biggest betrayal to law enforcement and public safety that I have ever seen.
They have made Harford County and Maryland communities and citizens less safe. That's what they've done. You know, they've done politics with public safety, and that's shameful.
In light of the new law taking effect, these sheriffs sending official letters to the Department of Homeland Security terminating their agreements. These letters are from Harford and Carroll County.
As a result of today, we have no pending legal action. You know, the advice we've received so far is that the way it's been done, that we really don't have a challenge. We're still going to continue research to see if we can come up with a way to challenge what Maryland has decided to do. So that effort will go forth, but it's not forthcoming today or any immediate action that we see.
And while Governor Wes Moore is clear this new bill doesn't prevent all cooperation,
Continue to coordinate on shared public safety priorities, including the lawful removal of non-citizen offenders who pose a risk to public safety.
these sheriffs say they will still continue to cooperate with ICE without a formal agreement.
But we are going to, and as the governor wants us to, and rightfully so. If we're not going to have the agreements, then we should still cooperate with our federal partners in ICE, and we're going to allow them to know who we are bringing into our jails and allow them to file detainers in accordance with the customs and immigration process that exists here in the United States.
Carroll County Sheriff Jim DeWeese just put this policy in place, outlining what that cooperation will look like when it comes to warrants and detainers.
And I did explicitly say that no politician is going to tell me that I can't communicate with another law enforcement agency on matters of public safety in my community.
And while Governor Wes Moore and top Democrats argue this bill will protect Marylanders and constitutional rights amid concerns about immigration enforcement, the sheriffs argue.
And whether you believe it or not, the abolishment of the 287G program is not the abolishment of ICE. They're going nowhere. In fact, they're going to intensify their efforts in sanctuary states. Mark my word, you will see a dramatic increase in the presence of ICE in this state. Thank you.
Now, I did reach out to ICE this afternoon to get their response to the passage of this new bill, and I also asked if they have any plans to ramp up enforcement actions in the state. So far, I have not heard back, but of course, we'll keep you posted. Live in Annapolis, Jessica Babb, Fox 45 News.
I'm Mary Bubala. Thank you for watching.
Yeah.
Here's another.
So after.
Oops. So here's the thing. As he said, ICE isn't going anywhere. And it's semantics. Okay. So it's kind of here's what Wes Moore has done. He said, okay, you can't use any resources to help ICE. He's not telling them that they can't report on the people that ICE needs to get, but they can't get involved in whatever ICE is doing. It's like, okay, so if we arrest somebody, let's just say, and I'm saying the we, and I'm on the side of the sheriffs, police officers, they arrest somebody, they have every right to call ICE and say, hey, we've got somebody on your list here, come and get them. ICE comes and gets them. I'm okay with that. But what Wes Moore is saying, if ICE is outside getting somebody, you can't interfere in whatever is happening with them, which is kind of dumb, because if you have people that are interfering with ICE, those people actually do need to be arrested because they're interfering with federal officers and agents. So what is your policy really doing, Mr. Wes Moore? Are you harboring illegal aliens? Huh? Are you interfering with federal law enforcement? Because you got to take care of your people, and you can't tell your officers to stand down to get them out of the way of ICE. Like, what have you done? Talk about 287G. Let's go. Let's look at 287G, y'all, because you know how I get. I need to walk you through it. I want my people educated on this. So you can partner with ICE, or you can refuse to partner with ICE, and that's fine. This is what 287G is kind of about. The program allows your law enforcement agency to enforce certain aspects of U.S. immigration law, expanding your department's authority to identify and process removable aliens with pending or active criminal charges. Wes Moore's okay with that part. Enforce limited immigration authorities with ICE oversight during routine duties. He's not okay with this. Okay. Serve and execute administrative warrants on removable aliens in your jail. He's okay with this. He's just not okay with routine duties, because he doesn't want his officers outside with ICE. But if people call the police, what are the police supposed to do when ICE is there? Like what are we doing? And the police have to keep down the rhetoric that you've allowed in your state, right? I mean, it's not an all or nothing. I think things can be handled in a discretionary way. But this is my recommendation to Homeland Security. I suggest you give their officers, the jails, you give them a list of the people that you're looking for so that they know who you're looking for. So if these people are detained or they have warrants for anything else, they can be picked up and they can be turned over to ICE. Because see, Westmore, he's okay with this part, identifying them. He is okay. He's okay with part of it, but not all of it, which is silly to me because I want everybody off the soil, but that's just me. It's my opinion. And these governors who keep protecting these people that are here illegally are trash and they need to be removed from office. And I need to mind my words. I need to actually apologize to y'all because I know I've been calling people dumb and stupid, and I should not do that. That you should not do that. Okay. I need to be better and choose my words better. I know I just called Governor Westmore trash. I'm just going to try going forward to say he's not the best right now. Okay. He's not making the best decisions right now on behalf of the American citizens to keep them safe because, see, when somebody else is injured by any of these people that are here illegally, what are you going to say to their family? Sorry. Your loved one is no longer with us. And we probably could have did something about it, but you would never admit that. You're just going to tell them sorry. That's the problem. There's no protections from people here that are here legally and people that are in places of authority, like Governor Westmore, and I can go on down the line because there are several governors and mayors who are protecting people here illegally, right? You're not sorry. You don't care. You care about your party. You care about what you want to attain here on this earth, and it's evil. You do not care about the human beings that you say you want to help. You do not care. Because if you cannot, in its smallest measurement, make sure that law and order is maintained in your state, I definitely don't want you in the highest office of the land because you can't even maintain your state, sir. Mm-mm. No, I'm good. You do not have my vote anywhere. None of you. I don't want to see a Democratic president ever again until you guys stop it with the harm on children, right? Encouraging them to mutilate themselves to be happy. You stop men from being in women's spaces everywhere, sports, bathrooms, everything. You stop it with the cult that's the LGBTQ community. Until you do those things, no more. I want Democrats away from everything that has to do with law and order because you do not know how to act. You're not human. You are unhuman. And I'm saying that because you don't want people to be human. You want them to be these things, these mindless things that are raving lunatics. I can say that and I'm not being mean. Okay. Just giving color to it. But yeah, it really needs to stop because you're not helping anyone. Now, I also wanted to look at this. Now, this is 287G, right? Now, I wanted to look at a part 2. I have to go back. So it says your agency might be eligible for Department of Justice Criminal Alien Assistance Program. And there was another part here. So why is it called the 287G program? The 287G program is named for Section 287G1 of the Immigration and Nationality Act, which authorizes ICE to delegate to state and local law enforcement officers the authority to perform specific immigration officer functions under the agency's direction and supervision, right? So they're basically like deputies to these federal agents, right? The federal agents are over them, but they can work along with the federal agents to make sure that their safety in all aspects. Sorry, you guys. Should have put my phone on do not disturb. It's kind of funny because my phone will like go on do not disturb when it feels like it. So, what I did want to bring up was this. And this is the powers of immigration officers and employees. And so, this is part of the Immigration Act that was put in. So, Title 8, right? Aliens and Nationality. It's Chapter 12, Immigration and Nationality, Subchapter 2, Part 9 is miscellaneous. But here's the powers of immigration officers and employees. Powers without warrant. Remember how they're always saying, well, you need to have a warrant. In the legislation, it says they don't have to have one. This is why Tom Homan is always saying, Congress, you wrote these laws. We're just following the laws. If you don't like the laws, change them. They're not. So it says any officer or employee of the service authorized under regulations prescribed by the Attorney General shall have power without warrant to interrogate any alien or person believed to be an alien as to his right to be or to remain in the United States, to arrest any alien who in his presence or view is entering or attempting to enter the United States in violation of any law or regulation made in pursuance of law, regulation, and regulating the admission, inclusion, expulsion, or removal of aliens, or to arrest any alien in the United States if he has reason to believe that the alien so arrested is the United States in violation of any such law or regulation and is likely to escape before a warrant can be obtained. For his arrest. But the alien arrested shall be taken without unnecessary delay for examination before an officer of the service having authority to examine aliens as to their right to remain in the United States. So even though these people are apprehended, they're still, okay, are you here legally or illegally, right? We need to find out documentation. Some people have deportation orders. Some people don't have deportation orders, but they're still here illegally. Well, how did that happen? Because they came here and they didn't get a court date, right? And if they did get a court date, they didn't go to their court date, right? So they don't have any papers saying that they need to be deported. So then that's where the process begins. Okay, this is again why Tom Homan says every one of them have gotten their due process, because they still have to get due process, even though they can be taken without warrant. Again, Congress, Bueller, if you don't like it, fix it. So I'm going to end this with Tom Homan just sharing on Fox about illegal immigration.
Another illegal migrant truck driver has been arrested in Indiana after allegedly running a red light and causing a deadly crash. The suspect was caught and released at the border in 2018 when he was a minor and reportedly got an Indiana commercial driver's license last May. Now, this comes 2 weeks after another illegal migrant allegedly killed 4 people in Indiana after entering through the CBP One app in 2023. Joining me now, Border Czar Tom Homan. Tom, obviously this was preventable. No reason why he should have a CDL operating these vehicles, right?
No, exactly. Look, we're going to be dealing with the Biden open border for decades. I mean, this is why we're out in full force in sanctuary cities. We got over 10 million illegal aliens that were released in this country without proper vetting. So, it's going to be decades till we fix what damage they've done. But look, we're making headway. We're breaking records every day, so we're going to keep doing it.
So this happened in 2018 when you had all those people that were still, gotaways, people that were coming across the border. This case is another one. A Venezuelan migrant came across the border illegally. He tried to drown someone just strolling across the beach in Florida, tried to drown a beach goer. Thank God that this woman survived. But again, a young guy who didn't have a criminal background, but he has one now.
Well, that's why, President Trump's committed to the American people that we're going to have a massive deportation operation. If you're in the country illegally, you're not off the table. And we said it from day one. Of course, we're going to prioritize the public safety threats because that makes sense, right? But just because you prioritize the public safety threats doesn't mean you forget about everybody else. If you're in the country illegally and we find you, we're going to arrest you and deport you. After they commit a crime, it's too late. Then you had victims, right? So, no, we're going to force immigration law without apology, including non-criminal illegal aliens.
That's right. I want to talk about the DHS shutdown because it doesn't seem to be getting any media coverage now, but this is what Ilhan Omar and Jalapal had to say about dismounting ICE. Let's play it.
If we're not going to go back to pre-2002 in looking at how these agencies used to operate without this level of brutality that we are seeing, then we need to figure out a different system.
When we get power back, we have to dismantle them. And we can go back to immigration enforcement as a civil system because that's what it is.
What do you make of that?
Well, I'm sure Omar would love for ICE to go away, right? Because she has her own issues.
Right.
But bottom line is, think about this. Members of Congress want to abolish the Department of Homeland Security that was established after the tragedy 9/11, right? And they want to abolish the agency that enforces the laws that they wrote, right? But they want to attack ICE and call them racists and Nazis and the secret police. Well, if we're the Nazis for enforcing immigration law, what's that make them? They wrote the law. So look, we're doing the same thing we've done for 40 years. I started in 1984. We're enforcing immigration law. Problem is, for the last 4 years, they weren't enforcing immigration law. Every one of them are complicit because they didn't say anything about the open border. Over 10 million people illegally cross that border. We got over, 2 million known gotaways. We got a record number of terrorists and criminals coming across that border. A record number of sex trafficking of women and children. Enough fentanyl killed 250,000 Americans. Over 4,000 aliens died making that journey. And where were they? They weren't saying a word. They're complicit. We're fixing what they broke.
So they've made a few demands, and some of them are just non-starters, I believe. They say they want to make agents show ID and wear body cameras. Well, there's already funding for the body cameras, and they wear their patches on them. They've also said they want to ban the agents from wearing masks. They say that they want to ban racial profiling. That's already illegal, and that's not happening. And they want to require a warrant to enter the private property, even though these people have already deportation orders that you guys are enforcing. Take those, either one of those demands that they're talking about.
The mask is a non-starter. Threats against ICE officers are up over 8,000%. And not just the officers, their families, their wives, their kids. The last threat I got was to kill my wife and children. So I'd suffer the rest of my life. And, they can dox me all they want. On the borders.
Doing the same thing to Lyons and his family.
Exactly. Going after their families. But as far as, racial profiling, that's a bunch of crap. We don't racial profile. When we detain somebody and question somebody for a short period of time, we need reasonable suspicion, which is built on
the legal standard.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what we're doing. But people say, well, the Supreme Court allows you to racial profile. That's not what the Supreme Court said. They said we're doing things legally because we have that standard of reasonable suspicion. And once you start questioning them, if you can gather probable cause, then we'll place them under arrest. But look, they want to shut down ICE to require a warrant to arrest an illegal alien. They need to read the statute that they wrote. Again, there's nothing in the immigration law that requires a judicial warrant to arrest an illegal alien.
It's a non-starter. Tom Homan, the great Tom Homan. Thank you, brother. More Fox and Friends straight ahead.
One even more. Yeah. And I read it to you guys. Power up immigration officers and employees. The first line. The very first line. So the Attorney General shall have power without warrant. They don't need warrants. Because if you are here illegally, that's it. You don't have any rights. That's the other thing that's crazy. Democrats always running around, you're violating people's rights. They're here illegally. They already broken the law. They have no rights because they're not citizens of this country. They're not protected. What is wrong with y'all? My goodness. Okay, I got one more video that I wanted to get in for you guys. And this is regarding Mandani. I'm not picking on him, just saying this is what's happening in New York. We need to pray for them. Okay, so Zoran Mandani, let me bring it up. Zoran Mandani just issued a travel ban in New York City, shutting down bridges, the tunnels, the streets, saying you better stay your blank in your house. Isn't that interesting? If you do want to come outside, you got to bring your documentation, bring your papers, bring 2 pieces of ID, a social security card. Interesting, because they don't like the SAVE Act, by the way, that requires ID. Separate issue. The only way you can come outside is if you're working with us. You're shoveling that snow. It's got poop on the ground still anyway, because they didn't clean that up when the snow dried. Okay, so it's interesting how socialism feels so much like authoritarianism. But don't worry. You'll have the warmth of collectivism to keep you comfy. So here is the video.
The streets saying you better stay your ass in your house. Isn't that interesting? And if you do want to come outside, you got to bring your documentation, bring your papers, bring 2 pieces of ID, social security card, pictures. And the only way you can come outside is if you're working for us, you shoveling that snow. So interesting how socialism feels so much like authoritarianism. But don't worry, you'll have the warmth of collectivism to keep you comfy. So Zoran Mamdani.
Yeah. And it's that part. It's that part, right? Where it just all comes back around. The same people running around, this authoritarian. Really? When you were telling people they couldn't go outside and they had to wear a mask. And if they didn't, you barred them from going anywhere. You barred people from working if they didn't take an injection. And you want to say what we're going through right now is authoritarianism? Have you lost your mind? You want that. Democrats want that. You know what? This is a good experiment in what democratic socialism looks like. And I want everybody to take notes and I want everybody to understand what's happening. Now, an interesting thing that Sunny Johnson brought up, she was like, okay, Zoran is in place, but you're going to have to figure out a way, like in a marriage, to come to a compromise, right? Not that one side gets more than the other, but there's an understanding. And here's my thing. You guys have to get an understanding. This is what this type of governance looks like. So you have to pick out the parts that are good and point out the parts that are bad, right? And really come to an understanding of what can you live with, because this person is on track to run for governor. And there is other people that have his ideology that are on track to run for mayor. So if you do not want this type of governance, you need to find people to run for office so you don't have this type of political air in your city or state. It's very simple, in my opinion. If you don't like the governance you're under, stop voting for this, because you voted for this. You were positive about it. And now it's kind of biting you. But now that it's biting you, you have to see, okay, where are the bite marks? What can I live with? What can't I live with? Because right now, a lot of his decision making, he's putting all these DEI hires in place and spending millions of dollars, well over what should be spent. But he wants to rob Peter to pay Paul. You want to take somebody's pension to put a DEI hire in place? No. To me, that's like, you aren't doing what's right by the people, Mr. Mandani. You aren't keeping your promise to actually do right by the people. You are fleecing the office and you are putting things in place that will not work. Socialism doesn't work. They've tried it before. Communism doesn't work. It's been tried before. Because if there were ever a successful communist country, find one. And Beyond Skeptical says, I wish I could blame Democrats for the open border, but I have to put credit to any elected official that didn't scream from the rafters. Exactly. The only person I truly remember going nuts was Abbott. Yeah, he was going nuts. But here's the thing about Republicans. They were upset about it, but they didn't do anything about it. Does that make sense? Because for the first 2 years of Biden's administration, he had all three levers. He had the House, he had the Senate, he had the executive branch. For the last 2 years, the Republicans were in charge. But unfortunately, because they didn't have the executive branch to actually turn over these things, they still couldn't really collectively change anything about the border, even if they wanted to. You need all three levers to do this, right? But there still were measures that they could have put in place. They could have really went full force and stopped things with USDA, right? The food stamps. You start going after people's food and housing and all those things, their money, you can shut some things down. But our border is a bipartisan issue, and it should always be that. We should never want people just allowed to come into our country carte blanche with no, penalty. And that's what the Democratic Party wants. And the Republican Party right now, they've been doing a really good job keeping everything shut down, but it needs to stay that way. Because see, if these Democrats get back in office, they're just going to open up the border again because they don't care. And we have to care more about our country. So with that, we're going to end the broadcast for today. But thank you so much for joining me here on Monday Recap with Unfiltered Vision News. And remember, stay well, stay focused, and stay unfiltered. We'll see you in the next one.